My name is Dr. Jose Rivera, and I want to thank you for being here tonight. I know that you have options to where you decide to be and spend your time, but I'm glad that you took the time to be here. Your time is super precious, so I promise to keep everything as simple as possible and spend 20 to 25 minutes going over some valuable information with you. All I ask from you is that you lend your heart and ear and that you are receptive to the information that you're about to receive today. Who you are at the end of the night when we exit the door is up to you. God grants us the ability to grow and to learn in different passages. So all I want from you really is to participate tonight and absorb the information that I gather for you. My hope and my prayer for you tonight is that by the end of the night, you take this information and not only use it for yourself, but you also share it with a loved one or someone that you understand might need it. All right, so with that in mind, let us begin. I prepared subluxation, as you saw, chiropractic 101, and subluxation is a word that you might not understand at this moment, that you might not have heard before, and it's the first time that you hear it. A vertebral subluxation occurs when one or more vertebrae in the spine become misaligned, compressing spinal nerves and disturbing optimal nerve function. This definition given to us by Sherman College of Chiropractic. Now that might not make sense to you right now, but I'll break it down. I want to start by showing you that visual there on the top left corner. As you can see, those are bones from our spinal column. And you can see some movement on the top and bottom section there, some yellow and red colors. Those are nerve signals. Now in the middle, we see that that nerve between the top and the bottom one isn't looking the same. There's something different about it, right? That's a subluxation. That section there does not have a healthy nerve flow. There's something that's obstructing it to work properly. And when that nerve flow is obstructed, our body is affected in different areas. We're going to go a little further here so you can have a little bit more understanding of subluxation. And in order to do that, we want to talk about the anatomy. Our spinal column, that we all should have, because if not we wouldn't be able to sit here or stand here, is composed of different sections. Each section here, we call it vertebra. So we have a cervical area, thoracic area, a lumbar area. So top, middle, and bottom. We even have a lower area called the sacrum. Each area is going to have different nerves. These nerves are going to communicate with different organs in the body. Now who's going to be the mastermind, for lack of a better word, behind this is our brain. Our brain is going to be right on top here, and it's going to send messages down our spinal cord, which is actually in this awesome armor. This armor is protecting that spinal cord in order for it to do different things for us to function. Specifically, send these signals that are being sent from the brain down that spinal cord to the different nerves. Our nerves are going to give us the ability to move, to speak, to digest, to breathe. Anything that you can imagine, the nervous system is going to be responsible for, okay? So, as you can see here, like I was saying, the brain sends a message down. It's distributed through the body to the different areas where it's needed. But I want you to also think that the brain is not only sending message to go out, we're also receiving messages. We're touching constantly. We're this big sensory apparatus. We're constantly surrounded by things that are happening around us, and we're receiving information. And that information is being sent down through the same nervous system up to our brain, and our brain is telling us how to react to that. So I want you to always have that in mind, that our brain is not only sending messages, it's also receiving messages. So we need to have a constant and clear pathway for that to happen. So going back to subluxation, so everything looks nice and in order here. Everything seems properly aligned. But what if one of the vertebrae comes out of alignment? Do you think that nerve will probably be functioning as well as it would be when everything's nice and aligned? No, right? So that's exactly what was happening in that first diagram that we saw. That nerve is being pinched. Now I want you to also think about the area the nerve is coming out of. That is an intervertebral foramen. It's a hole in between created by the top and the bottom vertebrae for that nerve to come out. Now, the nerve is not the only thing coming out of there. We have blood vessels, we have some tissues in there. So that nerve is sharing some space that when that area is subluxated, is misaligned, is causing some extra amount of pressure on that nerve. Are we understanding that so far? We're good? Got you guys? All right. So, I can give you a visual here. The kink hose. Normally, a kink hose will not permit water to go through, right? But sometimes, a kink hose lets a little bit of water to trickle through. So what does that mean? As we're talking about subluxation, we're thinking about that nerve probably cutting out complete communication, but it's not. It's just not working at its optimal level. There can still be some signals going through and sending everything that it needs to, but it's just not flowing correctly. Now, as soon as we unkink that hose, water flows. Sometimes things happen, just like we can see here. So we really, really want to let it flow. We want our nervous system to flow, flow, flow. We need it. We rely on it. So why not? On that, I want to make sure that you guys have an understanding of what's going on. So I need 2 participants. Come on over. You're going to have this ball, and this ball is going to represent nerve flow, nerve signals. All right? I'm going to have you be the brain, and I'm going to have you be a body part. Anyone you want to think of, heart, lung, or anything. All right? You're going to face each other. You're going to stand right over here, and you're going to toss this ball. Give a little bit of distance between you guys, and you're going to toss the ball back and forth. Brain to heart, heart to brain. You can bounce it on the floor. You can do as you please with the ball as long as you're sending that nerve signal over. Everything is clear. Everything is awesome. The brain is telling the heart what to do. The heart is pumping. The heart is being awesome. It's accelerated. It's getting exercise, and it is pumping that blood through the body. The brain is saying, awesome job. Good. Keep on doing it. What we got to do is great. We got to keep this body going. Awesome and fantastic. However, there's a time that it just stops communicating correctly. What happened? We'll talk about it in a minute. However, a subluxation is present. Make sense? Mm-hmm. Awesome. You can have a seat. Thank you. So, we have different causes. We have different causes of subluxation. One that is very important to me is the birth process. There was a research done by a professor and medical doctor, actually, from Harvard Medical School, Department of Neuropathy. This was done in 1969. And by that time, this doctor reported that on spinal cord and brainstem injuries in newborns, he said the birth process, even under natural and controlled conditions, is potentially traumatic. Spinal cord and brainstem injuries during birth occur often, but go unnoticed. So he's acknowledging that there is a problem at birth, even if everything is natural, if everything's going the way it's supposed to. And sometimes there's some injuries to these newborn, their spinal cord, their brainstem, which he says is traumatic, but it goes unnoticed. Kind of blows my mind a little bit. And in order to understand that, I do want to talk about the birth process. I want you to think about it just for a minute as you see this visual. If everything is well, if everything is perfect for that birth to happen, baby's head is positioned, and the birth process begins as he goes down or she goes down the birth canal, it's going to go through some structures, as we saw in this spinal column, in order to come into the world. So the head naturally has a mechanism to make it through that canal. As it goes through, compresses, and the baby comes out. Let's say that everything's perfect, the baby's out. Great. But that's not normally what we see with birth. Sometimes the baby has difficulty coming out. Baby's head comes out, the doctor grabs it, starts pulling, yanking, twisting, and just doing things to this child that if you, as an adult, were to be grabbed with this amount of force, you'd complain. Something would happen, because he's not only affecting the head as he's grabbing, he's affecting the column, spinal column. Next connected to the head, next connected to the thoracic, all the way down the back, as he's pulling and yanking. Let's say he's having difficulty. He comes in, grabs forceps, suction cups, more force, more pulling, more twisting. Those shoulders are stuck. They just don't want to come out. But finally, eventually, child's out. It's kind of traumatic. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to pull or yank that way. I don't remember my birth process, but my body probably did at that point in time. And these kids come out, they don't get checked, they move on in life, they grow, and even as they're kids, they have different symptoms come along. Acid reflux, you probably heard about that. Digestive issues, more complicated. Head is probably stuck. You've probably seen these kids. Head is stuck to one side, they can't turn it to the other, and if they turn it to the other, just back to one side. And everybody says, oh, they'll grow out of it. Awesome. But then as they grow out of it, other complications come along. But as I said, and as that doctor said, it's a traumatic event. And not just for the child, but for the mother as well. I mean, child is coming out of her pelvis. That's stretching, that's moving, and even though biomechanically it's structured to do certain things that the body's just so amazing and it will do, but the mom's carried that child for 9 months. She's grown stomach-wise, and she's probably gained some weight. She's got some issues with her lower back. So definitely when this comes around, it just probably adds to the equation, and she doesn't get checked either. Now, continuing down the line of traumas, as adults, we can be involved in car accidents. Our body's just tossed in that car if the accident is very strong, and even at times if something is just a slight bumper to bumper, you have some whiplash, something's going on there. But a lot of times, just like that child was in check, we go to the emergency room, doctor's like, no, there's nothing wrong, just some whiplash. And you go along life, you go to work, thinking everything's okay, you start to get these headaches, things aren't just going well, you start to miss work. You start to drink, you start to consume things that aren't so nutritious, fatty food and stuff like that, and you just start to not feel well. You weren't feeling well already after this accident, now you're feeling worse. You don't want to go to work, you start to get depressed, you don't feel well, your bills start to accumulate. These toxins start to develop in your body as you're thinking things and as you're consuming things. And you keep thinking, and these things, traumas, toxins, thoughts, they all do things to the body. They all contribute to some fixation. When these things happen, let's take thoughts for example. You start to think, you get sad, you get depressed. Naturally, when we're sad and depressed, we kind of go into this fetal position. We just kind of protect ourselves. Our posture starts to get affected. Things just start to happen in our body, and we just don't even know that it's our mood that's affecting it. All right, so have an accident. Life isn't just going well after the accident, but you're not doing anything about it. And these things all affect the spine. Things aren't communicating well, vertebrosubluxation is present. But it's okay. This all sounds sad till this point and moment, right? But I have great news. I'm gonna tell you a secret that the world needs to know. All of this can be taken care of. Everything can be helped with chiropractic. Excited. Gonna see the chiropractor today. You guys are here. It's awesome. You're getting information. So I'm glad you still are here with me and enjoying this part, because this is the best part, the good news. We can help with these thoughts, these traumas, these toxins, specifically the subluxation, to correct the subluxation. We can do so, as you see here, Homer Simpson is probably not the best example, but a little humor never hurts. And you know, we hear these things about snap, crackle, pop, that's what the chiropractor does, but definitely we are not doing that. We're more precise. There's a reason, there's an analysis behind what we do in order to arrive to an adjustment. This adjustment is going to be a force applied to the bodies of the different to the segment that's needed, that needs this adjustment to correct this subluxation. We don't just go ahead and adjust any area. We know what we're going to adjust because we examine. We look at posture, we analyze posture, and we x-ray because we want to see what's happening in your body, especially after a traumatic event, like an accident. So these things are definitely going to help you correct that subluxation. Your posture, like I said, is very important. We have posture exercises that are recommended for you and you alone, depending on what we find in your evaluation. And as we examine you, we have postural exercises that help you become conscious and aware of what's happening and how to correct it, how to counter-react what you're constantly doing. There's a thing nowadays called technic, and technic is basically a condition that's arising in our youth, especially because we're all day in our devices. And we can do things like this, a chin back extension exercise, to try to counter-react, being mindful and being aware. So all these things here can help to correct the subluxation. And after everything is said and done, and you're feeling better, you're recovered from this accident, from whatever traumatic event you had, we should keep you under maintenance. We need to make sure that your nervous system is flowing as much as it can. So after everything is corrected with your subluxation, we want to keep that in mind, maintenance, because you have a nervous system today, you'll have that nervous system tomorrow, and you have it for the rest of your life to your last breath. So don't you think that you need to take care of that? Definitely, right? We take care of our teeth, we try to take care of many things in order to help health, so why not continue with maintenance care on that? Now, there's something in your body that I think is more amazing than an adjustment, more amazing than chiropractic care, and this is called your innate intelligence. Innate intelligence is something in you that takes care of things without you even needing to worry about them. It does what it needs to do, and you don't have to worry about it. You get cut, that wound is going to heal. You're not thinking, oh, I need to create new skin. It's creating the skin. It does it automatically. So innate is very, very important, and even though you might have a subluxation, innate is still going to do its job. Innate is really taking care of you, and it can do even a better job when you're free of vertebral subluxation. You guys all right? Mm-hmm. Now we're getting here to the end, and I want to wrap things up with this vital needs pyramid. Does anybody know what a vital need is? What's a vital need? What do you consider something vital?
Water.
Water? Is that something you can live with or without?
Well, no, you can't live without it.
Can't live without. So vital, when we talk about something vital, is something that we can't live without. And water, yes, it's something that we can't live without. However, there's something that we should start with. Anybody know something besides water?
Food.
Food. That falls under nutrition. Nutrition, food, everything we need in order to give the body what it needs, energy especially. We can't be without food for a couple, maybe days, weeks. But there's still something that's more vital than food or nutrition. And like Alyssa said, there's water. Water is more important than nutrition. Water will help us keep hydrated. Our body is basically made out of water, 70%. So we really do need water. Without water, we can't live more than a couple days, a week or so. But there's something even more vital than water. That's oxygen. The air we breathe. We need it 24/7. Even when we're sleeping, we're taking in that oxygen to help us to get us through the night. Wake up, we're still breathing, hopefully. And we can't be without oxygen for about maybe 3 to 5 days. 3 to 5 minutes, sorry, days, wow. 3 to 5 minutes. But as you can see, there are 4 areas that we need to fill. Anybody want to take a guess on what's at the top right there?
Brain.
It is involved with the brain. We've been talking about it all night.
Nerve flow?
It does have to do with nerve flow. That's the nervous system. Do you see nerve flow? Right there.
Boom.
We can't live without our nervous system. If somebody came right now and yanked your spinal cord out, you're dead immediately. So our nervous system is going to feed everything in our body. It's going to take control of our lungs to process our oxygen. It's going to process our water and our food with our digestive system. We need a healthy nerve flow, like I've been repetitive saying tonight. We need it. So, we're closing up here, and I have one last thing for you guys. I want you to take a minute and think about someone that you know that can benefit from the information that you've heard here tonight. A loved one, a newborn, a couple, sister, aunt, cousin, best friends. Without friends, you really can't do much in this world, I think, in my opinion. They really do a lot. It's people that you probably took a road trip with. The couple that's growing old in age, but they just don't want to stop. Those neighbors, your family, anyone you come across. I know there's somebody dear to your heart that you know that this information can help them. So what I want you to do is thinking about that person is that you can either go and see my CA Becky in the back. She's got some brochures that have some information related to chiropractic, and you can take this to them. You can invite them to a next workshop that we have. We already have it set up. You're going to also talk to Becky and she'll show you where that's at. And you can bring them with you. And one thing that I find to be very personal is giving them a call. You can give me their number, leave it with Becky, but I won't call them until you come back to me and let me know that it's okay for me to call them. And we can talk about anything that's on their heart, any questions that they might have. So I hope you've enjoyed this information tonight. I'm glad that you were here, and I hope that chiropractic kind of helps you bring more people in here. All right, thank you very much.